Hello and welcome to another Bearded Geek toy review. In today's special episode, we're looking at the history of the Indiana Jones action figure range from 1982 and the recent re-releases from Hasbro. Stay tuned.
Over here. Indiana Jones, at your service, Toad.
Indiana Jones and other action figures new from Raiders of the Lost Ark collection, each sold separately.
Watch him, Cairo, swordsman. Yeah, watch my swing. Yikes! Phew. All downhill from here, swordsman. You'll be sorry, Jones. Tricked you again, Toad.
Indiana Jones, Tote, and Cairo Swordsman action figures, each sold separately from Raiders of the Lost Ark collection, new from Kenner.
Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be looking at Hasbro's recent retro versions of the original Adventures of Indiana Jones action figure line that were originally released by Kenner back in 1982, and also some of the extra figures that they've put into this range. And also some of the missing figures as well. Now, if you're unaware, this range was originally released in 1982, a year after the film Raiders of the Lost Ark came out. And here is a little potted history of the action figure range from the early 1980s. The Adventures of Indiana Jones action figure line by Kenner was released in 1982, a year after the cinematic release of the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark. The wave of figures came in two waves and also had a mail-away option of a Belloc figure. The playsets and vehicles were also part of the range, as was a horse for Indiana Jones to ride, which was actually repurposed from the failed Lone Ranger action figure line from 1979. Most of these action figures and original playsets go for very, very high prices on the secondary market, as they are extremely rare to find in great condition. So I hope you enjoyed that potted history there of the original Kenner Adventures of Indiana Jones action figure line. Now, obviously, with the release of last year's Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, the fifth film in the franchise, and kind of like the swan song for Harrison Ford, we saw a smorgasbord, as it was, I keep using that word recently, smorgasbord, a smorgasbord of Indiana Jones products. We had the excellent Indiana Jones Adventure series, which was the 6-inch range, and then Hasbro also did some retro figures based on the original Kenner ones, but then they expanded it into figures that were never done for the other two films in the original trilogy, Temple of Doom and the Last Crusade, and we'll have a look at those because they were wave 2. So this is, in this box is wave 1, and it's 5 figures, as you can probably see there. It says Hasbro 5-pack Kenner Indiana Jones action figures. Now, I already had one of these. Cast your minds back to last year in the summer. Obviously, we went to Walt Disney World, and I picked up just the Indiana Jones figure because that was the one I wanted at the time, and obviously kept it on card. Now, obviously, that does mean I have 2 of these, so I will actually probably open one of these so I can then have it on display. But on the back, we have the figures that were redone by Hasbro. So obviously you've got Indiana Jones, you've got Tolt, you've got the German mechanic, you've got Belloc, and you've got Marion Ravenwood, who comes with the little monkey there. So nice details there. Reproduction of the actual original card back on the front. And then obviously what Hasbro have done on the back with all the safety information. The original card backs had more details on them, with obviously the various play sets that you could get as well. So let's just put that back there, and let's just have a look at the figures that we've got in this box. Now, the card backs are a little bit bent and stuff, and I'm a bit disappointed at that, but never mind. So let's take these out and look at them individually. So here we've got a Belloc in his ceremonial outfit. Now this guy was only ever originally available as a mail away in this kind of like costume. They had another Belloc figure which was him in his standard kind of like desert white shirt and white pants, which they chose not to do. And obviously there's a couple of figures that they chose not to do in that range. So that's Belloc there. It's really disappointing that this is a really creased. Now you're probably wondering why I chose to get these, and it is purely because they were ridiculously cheap on Zavvi of all places. So here we have Tolt, and he's a reproduction of the original figure there. Comes with a little maser gun, I think that is. So yeah, they were doing both waves of figures for £50 all in. So effectively, for the 10 figures that you get, it effectively costs you £5 a figure, you know, which is far better than the original $14.99 that these figures were. You know, you'd be gutted if you actually got these for that price. So let's have a look at the next figure in the box. And here we've got Marion. Now, famously, Stan Solo did a reproduction of Marion, which was actually a little bit more accurate than the Kenner version and had more accurate kind of lace dress. But, you know, by the by, you know, Kenner have issued their own version, and that is the authentic card back that you got. And obviously this is a digital scan of the original figure and then remoulded to be re-released. So that's a Marion there. Let's just move this box around, and then we'll come to the penultimate figure in the wave, and this is the German mechanic. And it looks like, compared to the original figure, he's had a bit of a fake tan spray. He's looking a little bit orange there, which is quite surprising. But yeah, that's the marvellous actor and stuntman Pat Roach, who obviously had a part in all the 3 original Indiana Jones films, playing various heavies. And obviously he's more famous for the German mechanic, who famously comes to his grisly end with the propeller blades of the plane that the Nazis are trying to fly the Ark out of Cairo with. So yeah, so that's another reproduction of the original figure there. And obviously Pat Roach famously also starred in Auf Wiedersehen Pet, which was a ITV drama show in the 80s and then revitalised by the BBC in the early 2000s as well. And here we've got Indiana Jones. Now, this card back looks a little bit better. Now, apparently there was a running change in these figures, and actually you can tell the difference. This one seems a little bit heavier, and apparently it was all down to some of the moulding on the legs. So let me just double check. Now, apparently there is a code on the back that tells you whether or not this is actually the reissued version. So I'm looking at that, and that code says it's actually the same. So, oh, hold on. No, yeah, I'm looking at the wrong code. So it's that code there, which is punched in there, and that's 23001, you can see. And then there's another code there which indicates this is the improved running change version, and that's 23631 there. So this is the actual improved version of the figure, and this is the one I think I'm going to keep on card back, because that card back's really, really good. And obviously it doesn't look as faded as this version. So yeah, I think we'll open this at the end of the video, so we'll keep an eye on that. So that is the original Indiana Jones retro wave from Hasbro. Now, obviously, a few of you are probably going to say, well, hold on a minute, there's a couple of figures missing. And yes, there is. From the original lineup that Kenner did, like I said, we've already mentioned that the original Belloc figure is not reproduced. The Cairo Swordsman has not been reproduced. The Indiana Jones in German soldier outfit disguise has not been reproduced. And the eye patch man who comes with the Marketplace playset has also not been reproduced. So there's a couple of figures there that they haven't done. And again, we've discussed this with the Indiana Jones Adventure Series videos. Apparently Disney have vetoed some of the figures that Hasbro were planning to put out in this range. But more on that when we look at Wave 2. Okay, so here's the second box with Wave 2 in there. In fact, actually, I'm going to take this away and just show the figures individually. So, first of all, we have Short Round. And Indiana Jones from the Temple of Doom. Now, these figures were never produced by Kenner. Kenner let the license lapse after the failure of the Raiders of the Lost Ark figures. And the figure license was actually picked up by LJN instead. And they did kind of like 5-inch size figures of Indy, Molaram, and a Fuggy Guard. They did plan to do Short Round and Willie Scott, but they never got around to it because, again, figures didn't really sell on the toy shelves. So, yeah, so here we have Indiana Jones in his iconic look from the second movie, which is actually a prequel, as you all know, if you're a fan of Indiana Jones. There you go. Comes with a sword as an accessory, and obviously has a action feature similar to the other previous Indiana Jones thing, where if you kind of like press his legs together, his arm moves up and down. So they've kept that feature for the Temple of Doom version. So just 2 figures from there, and again, other figures were planned, but again have been vetoed by Disney due to cultural sensitivities, mainly Molaram. Again, he was planned also for the Adventure Series, the 6-inch line, and Lego even had a Temple of Doom temple and minecart chase set planned. Prototype pictures are online if you know where to look. I included them in my deep dive video of why the Indiana Jones figures kind of like failed. So yeah, it is a shame that certain things were vetoed by Disney, but such is the way of things. And then the last 3 figures were based on characters from The Last Crusade. Again, a film that didn't actually have an action figure line. I think there was a couple of bootleg figures that were made in Spain, of all places. But here we have Salah, as he appeared in The Last Crusade. And that's a kind of like cool version of the figure there in a retro style. So he's kind of cool. I like him. And then we have, of course, Sean Connery as Henry Jones Sr. And again, that's a cool kind of like retro representation of the character there. Again, a figure never produced previously. Accessory is an umbrella. So again, these I'm probably more or less going to keep on card. And then finally, the last figure in the wave, we have Indiana Jones himself This time, a variant of the Raiders figure with obviously added tie, because that was his look in the movie. And again, comes with revolver and actually the Holy Grail. So there you go. And then obviously on the back, you've got details of the 3 figures in that wave. So yeah, that's wave 2. And unfortunately, it looks like everything really didn't sell that well, hence why they are dirt cheap to pick up now. I'm not too sure if Zavvi have still got them in stock, but they were doing wave 1 and wave 2, like I said, buy both for £50. So an absolute steal, considering that each wave, had you bought them when they came out, would have cost you 85 quid each. That's quite a saving you're making there. So I'm pretty sure you can find them elsewhere on the secondary market. But yeah, again, it's just one of those things. There are certain characters in Indiana Jones, in the franchise, that are deemed not appropriate to release toys on, which is a bit of a shame, because as I stated in that original deep dive of the Indiana Jones toys that I did last year, this range, even the retro range here, is not aimed at kids. The 6-inch Adventure series wasn't aimed at kids. It's aimed at adult collectors, you know, but unfortunately we're not allowed to do certain characters because Disney have vetoed those figures, which is a bit of a shame. And perhaps that's one of the reasons why the toy line failed. We will never know unless somebody else decides to pick up the Indiana Jones toy license, which could happen, although I think Hasbro still have it. They still have exclusivity to for the 6-inch figures in the US and most of the parts of the world, and same with the retro kind of style figures, because they're still selling stock on their websites. So until we know any better, this is probably as much as we're going to get, which is a bit of a shame, really, because, you know, Indiana Jones, I think it's a cool franchise. Yeah, Dial of Destiny didn't hit as expected and was a big kind of like box office bomb. And I think that also probably contributed to the failure of this retro collection wave, and also the 6-inch Adventure series. But there you go, the Indiana Jones retro figures from Kenner. And finally, before we go, I did promise you that I would be opening one of these figures. So yeah, as I stated earlier, this is the improved kind of like running change version, and that one's on a kind of like clearer, darker card back. This one looks a little bit faded, whether it's because it was in the store for a little bit too long when I picked it up at World of Disney in Disney Springs, I don't know. But yeah, I'm just going to put that one to one side. And this is something that we rarely do on the channel. When we're looking at retro figures, we're going to just open him up like that. Oh, it takes me back to the days when I was a kid. When I used to just get the figures straight out of the packaging like that. Okay, so let's just get him out. Now, apparently he has difficulty holding his gun and his whip, so I don't know what we're going to do there, but let's just see if we can. And obviously, the reason why these figures have bendable knees and more articulation than the Star Wars figures that were being released at the time is purely down to the fact that so they could fit on like the horses and stuff like that were released in the range, and also fit properly in the truck. So let's just put that. Yeah, he holds that well enough, so that's cool. Yeah, I think the reason why this figure was amended is because when you push his legs, that function does not work. So yeah, I think that was a running change that they put in because it wasn't quite working there. But yeah, you can have him obviously with the pistol, And then he comes with this, just let's put him there. It is a cool little figure. I think I would have loved to have had this toy line as a kid, but I don't think I ever saw them. Indiana Jones kind of like slipped me by when Raiders came out. And bizarrely, that's his kind of like whip with a little kind of like strange handle, which we'll try and put in this hand, but I'm not too sure that's going to fit there. Okay, yeah, it does. So there you go. He does hold the whip there, but it does just look like he's holding a bell that has a piece of string to it. So I'm not too sure I'm going to have him with that. I might just put that to one side and just have him posed with the gun. Yeah, but I don't remember ever seeing these figures in the stores. And unfortunately, I didn't see Raiders of the Lost Ark on its original run in the cinema. I saw it later on when it was released on VHS. And that's where I discovered the series and the films. When I saw Raiders later on when it was released. So there you go. There's a look at the Indiana Jones figure from Raiders of the Lost Ark, a reproduction of the original version from 1982. Essentially, it does look like it's Han Solo with a hat added on, and they probably did use the same head and the same moulds in some places, but there you go. Yeah, I think I'll just put him on my desk somewhere. And yeah, I think he looks kind of cool. Well, I hope you liked that little look behind the scenes of the history of the Indiana Jones action figure range from 1982 and also the recent Hasbro re-releases. I think they're okay. It's just a shame that they didn't obviously do the full complete figures from the range, but you could say that about Star Wars Retro Collection as well. Anyway, lots of cool new videos to come. I hope you've enjoyed the free videos that we've posted this weekend. It really has been fun getting back into the swing of doing the videos. And I hope you stay tuned for some more cool videos to come in the next coming weeks. So take care, and we'll see you very, very soon on Bearded Geek Toy Reviews. Bye now.
I've had enough of this jungle.
It's Indiana Jones, a large-size action figure.
That boulder's coming in fast.
He's new from Kenner's Raiders of the Lost Ark collection.
Stay low, Indiana. They're right behind you. Use your whip. Whoa, I'm slipping. Oh, a snake pit. Get me out of here. Snap.
Indiana Jones, a large-size action figure from Raiders of the Lost Ark collection, new from Kenner.